everybody. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. Today, I'm very happy to bring back a very special guest, Chris Mathieu. Chris Mathieu is host and creator of Forbidden Knowledge News and the Forbidden Knowledge Network. He graduated Full Sail University with a degree in digital media and later was an editor at his local television station for 2 years. In 2016, he started a Facebook page, Forbidden Knowledge News, as a blog to share the information he was learning during his awakening. And as the blog became more popular, Chris started a YouTube channel to bring his favorite researchers, authors, scientists, and experiencers on to share their knowledge and insights. This eventually became a talk show and podcast, which has featured some of the most brilliant and extraordinary people on the planet and has gained an amazing global audience. The Forbidden Knowledge Network is now a podcast network that features creators, researchers, authors, and regular people just like himself that want to bring knowledge, truth, and a greater understanding to every person incarnated at this critical time in human history. All of the links are going to be featured below in the description box. And today we're going to talk about Chris's more recent paranormal adventures. Chris, welcome back to Aliens and Angels. How you doing today?
Hey, Karen. Thanks so much for having me back on. I can't complain. And let's get weird.
Yeah, let's get weird. So if I have in the links below the last time, a link to the show you were on. This show that you were on last April, and we covered quite extensively your previous paranormal experiences. And if you want, you can touch on that again today, or we can just dive right into your more recent paranormal experience, but also your understanding of what's going on with all of this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, if it's all right, I'll just give a brief recap of those.
Sure.
Experiences, because it's very important to what's happened after. It's like a story that keeps unfolding with each new experience, and it's quite incredible. So I guess where I could start is the very first experience I had. It was a meditative experience, quite profound. It's where my whole trajectory for this show really began as far as success. And it was because I had a meditative experience where I made contact with what I now understand as my higher self and spiritual guides that are ancestral spiritual guides, as far as I can understand. This one meditative experience, through that, I was given many instructions on how to proceed if I would like to heal childhood trauma, get where I need to be successfully, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And I started following these instructions to a T. Part of these instructions for me personally was to explore psilocybin and consciousness exploration through plant medicines, which I started doing after I moved out of the state of Louisiana, where I was not as successful. I moved to Colorado a few years ago. The show really started picking up at the same time. I started having psilocybin experiences, vision quests, and at very high doses, sometimes a couple of times a week, sometimes a couple of times a month, depending on when I feel instructed by spirit to do so. And each of these experiences, like I said, was a continuation of a story, and it seems like I'm being there. I was being prepared for a set of information that I was not ready for at the time, because I had very little understanding of the information that was coming through, only that it was bettering myself and it was bettering where I was as a financial state and emotional and everything else. And I was getting my shit together, basically, and I was becoming successful because I was following these instructions with each experience. Well, fast forward to just about a year and a half ago. I'm not going to use any names because it's very interesting the way everything has unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was an individual, a young lady who lived with me for about 6 months or so. She was my girlfriend. And if you recall from the last episode, I went over an experience that I had with her where we were both supposed to have a psilocybin experience She was her first experience, supposedly, and she did not feel anything. We got up to 5-gram dose with her for this first time, and she
Wow.
claims she did not feel anything. Now, during this experience, this part is kind of critical to everything else that follows. At the time, I thought my perception was being attacked by a spiritual attachment that was making me see something, that was forcing my perception to see a reptilian shapeshifter. Not only a reptilian shapeshifter, my girlfriend shapeshifting into a reptilian right in front of me that was like 6 foot tall. She grew and she was still wearing my girlfriend's like nightgown and stuff. It was pretty insane. Now, what happened previous to that very moment where she shapeshifted, we were having a kind of like a regressive experience where she was walking me through some childhood trauma because she does it. She was a psychic medium and she helped people do that. So I figured for me, it works really good whenever I'm under the influence of these plant medicines because I am very much able to regress myself to childhood experiences and trauma and resolve those. So she was supposedly assisting me to do this. We did so. It was a great experience at first. I thought we had really cleared something. And at the time, like I said, I thought a spirit attachment was maybe attached through that event and started to take over my perception because we were getting rid of it. I have a different understanding now of what happened during that experience, much different. So she shapeshifts into this reptilian entity right in front of me, chases me around my house. My whole house changes. I feel like I'm in a dungeon. My whole perception changes. I eventually go to the shower and just start running water over my head because I'm freaking out. I don't know if I'm dead, alive. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I'm sucked into an alternate dimension. I just need to get rid of her and be quiet for a minute. And I started praying to God. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, God, help me. What is going on? And out of nowhere, this like rumbling voice comes, overtakes me, says, you're being deceived. I puke up black stuff down the drain of the shower. It was pretty incredible. The room, everything changes back to normal. The lights are brighter than ever. I feel amazing. I walk out. My ex is in like this lotus position on the bed, and she's telling me, "Oh, I saw what happened. You were being attacked by an entity, and I helped you get rid of it by throwing it through a portal in my meditative state or whatever she claimed she was doing." Now, after this event, our relationship quickly fell apart. And things like the whole time, it was very strange. It was a very odd feeling. I felt there was not something right with this individual person, not something right at all. But I kept going with it. For some reason, unknowing to me now, but I'm figuring it out. So I stayed with her for about 6 months. After that event, things started to fall apart, and the relationship fell apart. And I broke it off with her. I couldn't do it anymore. So time goes on, and it's been a while since I've had a vision quest or meditative experience. Well, I'll go back to the experience after, but what the understanding I have now of what happened is there was an infiltration into my life by this individual. Now, I'll get to that in a second, and it gets pretty deep, and it gets kind of unbelievable if you don't have an open mind and if you haven't experienced the things I've experienced myself, which are pretty incredible. Now, as you also know, Ryder Lee lives with me now, and it was a very strange series of synchronicities that brought us together, and him actually to come and live with me. And it's very strange that I would kind of bring in a stranger. He wasn't really a stranger. We've been friends for a while. I just really didn't know him that well. We really hit it off. I felt like there was, a really good connection with him. He was a good dude. He had a good show. So I brought him over here. There's also other folks that I kind of gravitated to, that I felt a genuine connection, that there's something that there's some reason where I need to be around these people. And there's a group of those that are quickly growing. And I'm better able to sift through now who I'm not supposed to be around, who's trying to sort of have that infiltration. And this also gets important into what I've discovered. And if you know me, if my audience knows, my whole career of doing this, I've never claimed to have any answers. I've never claimed to know anything for sure. In fact, I've always claimed that the more I learn, the less I know. Well, I'm going to tell you now. I know a little something. Not anything that I could claim that I know even close to what is really everything that's really going on. But I will say I know a little more than I did before. And I owe that to the experiences I've had and the way that I've pushed myself through consciousness exploration, through the fear, through intense emotions, to getting past ego, getting past the messages that are muddled between spirits, and getting past my own ego that's misinterpreting the messages I was supposed to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody's receiving these messages. There's one message coming through to everybody right now. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of if you're interpreting it correctly or not.
Yep.
So there are people that let their ego get in the way, and then that's how cults are formed.
Oh yeah.
They have different reactions to the information that comes through, and the information comes through in different ways. It's not just through psychedelics. People have psychic experience. People have contact experiences. People have just a knowing, a understanding, downloads. Maybe it's the food they're eating. Maybe there's just naturally have a connection to this. Maybe they're supposed to know this. But the information is coming through to a group of people right now, and it's not a large group of people. I don't want to give any numbers and get all kind of crazy conspiracy here, but there is a certain group of people right now that is receiving information that is correct, that is receiving a message. And there's even a smaller group of people that's understanding that message.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe that I've begun to understand the message, and I've verified with many others who have been getting the same message for a very long time, who I trust very much, and who I'm starting to have meetings and regular communication with, because we've all been instructed to come together and do so.
Right.
We are all receiving a very specific message now. Now, the way I've come to this message is apparently I had to go through a series of initiations. I had to clear blockages. I had to come to a certain level of awareness. And I forced myself to do that through these plant medicine sessions. And I knew I was doing it for a reason. I just didn't know why. So there was this one experience, and this only happened a few weeks ago, where my doses are now no lower than 3.5 grams each time. I'm going 3, 5, 7 grams at the most every time.
Can I ask you what kind? Like, are you using Golden Teacher or
I'm using different? One of my friends is growing different kinds. The ones I've been using lately are Thai something, but they're wonderful. I find them all equally as beneficial, as long as they are grown quality and by people that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really had a mushroom experience that wasn't didn't beneficial in some way.
Yeah.
Now I've had crazy experiences. I've had a lot of misunderstandings. I've had a lot of miscommunications between my higher self, but almost every experience I can make contact with my higher self. And especially now that I know how to do it. Now my higher self comes and goes throughout the day anyway, even if I'm not, even if I haven't had mushrooms for a week or months, I can still get the messages when they come through. It's more difficult for me to initiate, but it can happen if I've really practiced stillness and meditative practices. So during this particular experience a couple of weeks ago, I've been going through different levels, astral levels during these experiences. I've experienced the lower hell realms, and now I've experienced the higher heavenly realms. And I've learned from each realm different ways of interacting with reality, different understandings of reality, different spiritual practices and understanding, it's like each level has this astral classroom for me, and I get incredible information and taught during these sessions, information and instructions as well. This particular time, it was like I was speaking with my higher self, and I was curious to find out more information about what is the true nature of our reality, because I felt I had done a lot of work on myself, and that's all I had been really doing for the past sessions, is really understanding myself and where I'm going and bettering my own situation. I'm like, well, I really love to know some outside information. I know it's possible. I've gotten it before. So can we try this again? And that is when, again, my whole reality changed around me. Visually, perceptually, everything changed. The room changed, color changed to like this green and red type of lit, kind of like the lighting I have now, but in my own bedroom, not in the studio here. And it was very strange. And I felt like I had hit a firewall of reality. I felt like there was something wrong. There's supposed to be these unlimited realms, or at least beyond heavenly realms. There is a divine realm of that, of source, you could say, where we can directly interact with source. And I've had this understanding for a while, but I felt there was something so wrong. I hit a firewall, and it felt unnatural. It felt like it was put there by something. It felt like it was not supposed to be there. Now, at the same time, I'm trying to figure out why. And an interesting thing about this is I'm using binaural beats and tones the whole time I'm having these experiences. When I hit that firewall, the tone changed dramatically to something I'd never heard before. The tone coming out of my speaker actually changed into something else, some kind of discordic, awful sounding drone that sounded like it would sound if you were inside the firewall level of a computer system. It was pretty crazy. So I'm there, my whole room changes to these weird green and red colors, these lights, and it's like I feel like I'm stuck behind a firewall, and I'm kind of trapped there, and I can't get any higher, and this is not supposed to be here. Because it didn't feel, most of the experiences I have feel either organic, fluid, or spiritual, or they have this sort of essence that I can relate to in a either biological or spiritual way. This was not. This was mechanical. This was
Interesting.
100% technological.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never experienced anything technological. LSD, sure. Any other type of psychedelics, sure. Mushrooms, never. This was very different, and it terrified me, because I knew, with the tone, the knowing, the understanding, the uneasy feeling I had, is that I couldn't go any further. I knew there was something wrong. Now, as I came to this understanding, I started hearing and feeling like a presence beyond the firewall. And it started like hearing voices, and it was like a celebration. And it was like they were saying, he's going to remember now. This is great. He's going to start to remember. They're all going to start to remember. This is wonderful. And they're celebrating and celebrating. And I'm like, I'm gonna remember what? And as soon as I said that, Karen, I started to remember what they're just having a knowing. And that's all I can tell you, is it's just a knowing just came over me. It's like I started to remember what I really am, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing here. And for 2 days after I had this full, it's not even a full memory. It's just, I'll give you the understanding that I have, and then we'll take it from there. But for 2 days, I was shaken, and I questioned everything and everyone around me. And it was not a good thing for the first couple of days, until I had another experience and got better understanding. So the celebration outside, the knowing, the remembering, I had a remembering that I was a volunteer of some sort. Well, there's a bunch of us volunteers here. Here is not real at all. It's a holographic projection that we create with our own consciousness.
Yeah.
But it's also something we created ourselves to experience, because Apparently, the way I understand it from my own communication and the communication I'm having with others. I'm not going to give any names right now, but we'll be doing shows together soon, so everybody will know
Awesome.
who's involved. But they're very trustworthy. I've been speaking with these people for a very long time, and they're having the same knowing and experiences that we created this reality for ourselves because at some point, what we know as planet Earth is became uninhabitable, kicked us off. No more humans. So this is like the time doesn't exist type of paradox sci-fi stuff that I'm still trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
We're apparently not here. We're either on a ship or we're in some kind of existence somewhere else. We do exist somewhere else. I don't know if we're physical, but we're out somewhere out of this. This is an overlay. This is a projection. We do create it. We have incredible control over it. We project everything.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently at some point there was an infiltration and we made mistakes. We made mistakes and we trusted outside energies that we should not have trusted. And they took over the overlay and they made us forget everything. And it kind of trapped us in, we're each in our own kind of simulated loop. And it's apparently, according to some of the folks I've been speaking with, it's been going on for like 13,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty incredible what could really be going on. And like I said, for the first few days, I didn't think anything was real. I was like, it's my own girlfriend real? Is my dog real? So apparently there's this is for us and we've created it for ourselves. And I won't say there's many of us here that are just on the verge of remembering or already have, but got trapped into another simulated trap is what you could call it.
Yeah.
There are AI parasites right now that are dragging folks into their own traps, these simulated traps. And that's actually what happened to the truth community. And it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to most of the people in the truth community. They have lost track of what they're supposed to be focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting the messages, not getting it correctly, and they are focusing on doom and gloom and everything wrong and, alien abductions and all this stuff. Now, from what I understand, aliens are very real and they are out there. They're outside of this overlay. Some of them can interact with us through the programming or somehow. But what is the force that supposedly has overtaken everything is it's a lower density energy form that we understand and we recognize as a reptilian form. That's the only thing we can see. Whenever people are supposedly seeing like shapeshifters and like people on planes shape into different things, they're not really seeing a reptilian. What they're supposedly seeing is that person's soul essence.
Yep.
And that person's soul essence is a lower negative life form that we perceive as a reptilian. It's not a divine human.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like Agent Smiths, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like everywhere, and there's a lot more of them than I believe there is us, relatively.
Yep.
According to each of our own perception, depending on how many of us there are. And I still have more questions than answers, although I have just a couple of answers. I still don't know how much of anyone that we interact with on a daily basis, how much of what we are shown in the media, any of it can be altered or changed or not even real. And it's difficult, extremely difficult for us to decipher this. And that's why there's so many traps right now. That's why so many people are being trapped.
Yep.
What
Absolutely.
And one more thing, what's happening now is why everything's getting so insane and crazy and strange, apparently, the machine we're in, the simulation is coming to an end. It's in its final like loops, death throes, and the
It's
more
falling
people,
apart.
yes, the more people that
Yeah,
become aware of this very thing, the
yeah,
more the simulation, because we're creating reality, we're projecting it ourselves.
yeah,
So if more and more people become aware that we're projecting and are able to change reality, which is another thing that I've been shown, then the entire construct will start to glitch out and eventually destroy itself. And this is the part I don't think we're supposed to be afraid of,
yeah.
but this is also, I believe, what we may have seen past cataclysms occur, or sometimes extinction level events that we may have perceived, but I don't know. And that's the thing that it's the darkest aspect of what could possibly be on the other side of this, is that we don't know what's really on the other side of this. But the fact is, everything is going to flicker out, and existence, reality as we know it, will dramatically change within our lifetime. Now, I don't know if the entire thing will be gone by the time, within our lifetime. I know it's the beginning right now, and I know that the more people that become aware of this, the more it will have a quickening effect on
Oh,
everything. And
yeah.
that's why we're seeing all the weird shit right now. And that's currently where I'm at with the understandings. And I've had a couple of other experiences, and I will tell you that I have been speaking with Ryder. He's one of the folks in our group here. We've got a few others, and we're going to start putting out content that is going to attempt to get folks in the right direction here with their understanding, because the truth community is all over the place
Yep.
with
It sure
directed
is.
energy
It's,
weapons and politics and aliens and all the things that really are just part of the machine construct that don't
yeah,
matter. And if you pay attention, if you get sucked into any one of those things, you're working for the machine. That's
yep,
that's plain and simple. You are working for the machine. It doesn't mean you're like assimilated to the Borg. You can check out as whenever you want to, but that's how they get you. These whatever these lower energy beings, they can't create reality. They need us to do it. So that's why they
yes,
had to infiltrate this system that we created, because it is our own creation system. We're creators. We created this so that we can create reality, because we apparently scorched the earth so bad that it's healing itself right now. And these life forms understand that we are creators, so they use us to create their reality. They whisper in our ears, and they give us little nuggets of, oh, you can do this, and all these things are possible, and you should do this. And that's how we get into the destroyed state we are now, and
yeah.
as humanity.
I want to share a couple just short experiences I've had, Chris, and this in no way invalidates what you're saying. I completely validate your experience. I've known you for a number of years now, and I totally get where you're coming from. I think my experiences may even be similar to what you've had, but in one experience, I've had visions without using psilocybin for some reason. I don't know whether I leaked DMT or what, but I've had quite a few visions. And one of my visions, I was concerned about death. And I had a vision that we actually, all of us have already died. But
Mm.
there's something that we are creating to keep going as though we hadn't died, because it was such a mass trauma to all of humanity, not just humanity, but all living things, that we created this so that we could have the illusion to keep living and keep society going. And I
I
don't know
think
if
you're onto
that,
something, Karen, because one of the
so
folks that we're speaking with said this very thing, and it may have happened around 2012 or even
yes,
2020. Yeah.
2012 was when I got the vision.
Many of us have now discovered that the world is not what we thought it was, and global events have left many feeling unsettled and even isolated. Karen Holton offers vital services that may be just what you need as she supports your journey into the weird and wonderful. Karen offers awakening support and ascension consultation to support individuals on their journey. For more details, check out her various vital services. Once you find your way through this process, there are many blessings on the other side. Visit Karen's website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, to get started today.
And then another vision that I had. See, my visions, to be honest with you, Chris, I don't know if I'm crazy or not. Like, I don't know where this stuff comes from. Like, a lot of times, even my ET experiences, and as I told you, I'm completing my book. That's all filtered through my physical three-dimensional construct, right? And trying to make it into language that other people can understand. But another vision that I had was that none of this is real, that I'm safe someplace else, but I'm experiencing this as though it's real. And, I got caught up for a couple of years, especially during the whole COVID thing, into conspiracy theories and the doom and gloom. And it made me really depressed and actually quite unwell. And then I had a sort of a wake-up call from my higher self that said, Karen, remember before when you had that vision, that none of this is real. It's all bullshit. And I went, you're right, it's all bullshit. And so I would experiment with not participating in or giving energy to those realities. And my life would just get better and better and better. And so I'm safe someplace else. I don't know where, I can't tell you, but I do know that we have tremendous power if we don't buy in to the bullshit. And 99.9% of it is complete bullshit. And it's orchestrated to keep us constantly in fear, constantly giving our power away, constantly thinking about all the things that are going on in the world that are, shocking and dramatic and unhealthy. And I think that is feeding into that reality. I've also been told that if enough of us put our minds together and started to every single day envision our idea of what paradise could look like here on Earth, doesn't have to all be identical, that we could change this system so fast. But we've forgotten that we have that power. So anyway, I just want to leave it at that and get your thoughts and see if that in any way fits with your experience.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. And I'm not claiming that I know that we're on a ship or that we are light bodies outside of this, or even that we're just in a floating city above the earth somewhere. I have no idea what is beyond this construct here. I just know that there is something, and that this is some sort of a false overlay. Now, one of the most beautiful parts of this is like the Matrix, right? It's
exactly
almost exact. Like the Matrix was a documentary, right? Pretty much. I think the Wachowski brothers are like androids, are part of the machine that's trying to show us something. I don't know, but it's definitely that's what this is. So just like Neo in the Matrix, when he's plugged in and he's getting his kung fu training, and you're getting all this, he's getting all these downloads and information and all the education about everything that you could ever want. We can do that too. We can plug ourselves in, and there's different ways to do that, not just through plant medicines or psychedelics. You can do it through meditation. You can do it. There's many different ways to access this cosmic information, and it's out there for us because we still have access to it. I still access it all the time, and it's profound information, and we're supposed to. And from what I'm told, things like the magic mushrooms are put into this simulation so that we can get access to the correct messages that are coming through. And it's not just that. There are other plants in nature that we can get some of these messages from. I know psychedelics aren't for everybody, but there are different ways to do this. And we can each go through our own like matrix training and learning different things. I asked to do this over a year ago. I've been asking the universe put me through these, trainings. And it has been doing this. How abductees or contactees report being taken in the night and going to these different schools, and they're learning all these telepathic abilities. And well, kind of the same thing for me. It's just my higher self and my spirit guides downloading the information, teaching me about magic and stillness and how to manipulate reality. And I've been going to these astral classes for a while, learning these very things with incredible results. And I've been practicing, and that's the key, is you go in there and you have your experience and you practice in this matrix reality, which I'm doing. And I haven't, I haven't done much, but I tell you what, from what I have learned, there is an art of stillness and the combination with meditation that you can achieve almost anything with. And you can literally bend reality, stop time, slow down time, all with breathing and meditation practices. So there's something that, that we should definitely be happy about, and that will definitely give an advantage for what is to come. And what is to come is, for folks that are aware, for folks that understand what's going on, we just have to let the other folks know so they get back on track. They got people focused on this stupid thing or that stupid thing or this stupid thing down here, or occult ritual sacrifice or adrenochrome or transvestites. It's like, stop. We just no. You just get on track and just have an awareness that this isn't real. We're creating all of this, like the Illuminati, the globalists, the elitists. We created all of that. We allowed them to come into power. We allowed them to get their votes. We gave them their votes. We gave them the money to do all this. We give them through what? Through the corporations and all the shit we buy, the mindless entertainment we watch. We are creating reality because it's a perpetual kind of like a figure eight cycle that we keep going through. The system feeds us something, we observe it and we believe it, and we feed it back into the system, and it's a loop, like egregores coming out of our energetic consciousness. And it's a loop that keeps creating itself, and we are making what is happening right now. Everything, all the chaos is because they're coming online, they're realizing something wrong, but there's not enough people who are really understanding why. So we're just seeing a bunch of chaos with a bunch of misunderstanding right now manifesting into our reality. Just look at the mugshot of Trump, and that's all you need to do right now. Just look at that mugshot, and it's like, yeah, we're not in a real world anymore. So
like
I said, it's I don't know when and how it happened, but something happened.
Yep. And one thing that I've been working on, because I'm in touch with my spiritual guides, and interesting couple things. One thing is that I've been working on is suspending my beliefs, observing without having an opinion, observing without saying this means this or this is that. Just being just watching without having an opinion, a belief, a structure. And in that way, I'm not adding to it. I'm aware, so I can, take care of myself and take steps to do what I need to do. I got a kitty cat here. If you hear him, that's why. But to not, and at first it was difficult, but then I found there was great power in it, because I got to a place where because I wasn't believing or thinking this is this and making meaning out of it, because I was not making meaning out of it, I was able to see it more for what it really is and just walk away from it and go, oh, that's interesting, or whatever, I thought that was really cool. And another thing is my guides, almost 2 months ago, also suggested that I stop using cannabis for 3 months. And it's not that there's anything wrong with cannabis. I've been 2 months now without it. It's just that I need to anchor in what's easy for me to perceive with cannabis. I need to be able to do that without cannabis, to strengthen my own conscious abilities. And the other thing with cannabis, what I found is it makes the intolerable tolerable, whether it's pain or your life situation. And I needed to be in the intolerable to master my skills in that realm without making it tolerable, if that makes sense. I needed to feel the full impact of everything around me. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to use it. I've got some really good weed stashed away for when I want to, but I was using it every day for pain management, for self-medication for over 20 years, Chris. It was time for me to have a break. And so, and I found it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because it was something that I was spiritually inclined to do. So I thought, so that's another interesting experiment, but the not making meaning out of what's going on around me. And then I find I'm in the eye of the hurricane. I'm in that calm place where, regardless of what's going on around me, I'm in that calm place where I'm taking good care of me. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's, I went through all kinds of self-healing. I went through experiences of spiritual death and rebirth, trauma regression. I had to face all my demons. I had to have like 10 dark nights of the soul. So yeah, I understand completely what you're talking about. And it, that is the first step for, I believe, anyone to be able to start having an awareness, is they have to take care of some of the things that are holding them back and that they're not comfortable with in their own life, because it causes severe blockages on everything else. It causes severe blockages on understandings, and it just makes your life better. It makes everything better. It makes everything flow a lot better. So yeah, I completely understand.
Have you heard of those new studies they're doing with DMT, where they're giving people intravenous DMT so that it lasts longer? And the thing that's blowing everybody's mind is these people that are doing DMT all go to the same realms, have the same experiences with the same beings, with the same messages. How can that be? Like, now the science is proving that you actually do go someplace. It's not just your brain making it up with your imagination. It's real. And so, of course, psilocybin produces, as my understanding is, it produces our own DMT, more of it.
Yes.
So that we have those experiences. Funny
That's
thing
why I've been taking the extreme high doses, because at that high dose, you can pretty much exit your body if necessary, if you get to that state, which I have plenty of times.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd much rather do it with a mushroom that either someone grew out of, the ground, and I know it's a completely natural, than somebody in a lab putting together DMT. Although I've done DMT and it was a profound experience, and I think it has great benefits. I much prefer either ayahuasca or mushrooms. I have not tried ayahuasca yet, although that's on the list coming up. But I think that's really fascinating, and I have a knowing now that what is happening is we are accessing different realities, different realms, different aspects of ourselves that aren't part of this construct that we're in.
Now, what would be your advice to people who, and we're not telling people to go out and try psychedelics. That's a personal choice. But what would you say to people like myself who want to, let's just say, do the right thing and stop contributing to the madness, and to contribute more to our own sanity, and to bringing in a new construct, I guess, a new construct. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming we're supposed to be in a construct, or we wouldn't be in a construct, but to use our God-given powers to create something healthy here while we're here on planet Earth. What's your advice?
What I do myself is I try to be as childlike as possible in everything I do. I try to enjoy everything I do as much as possible. I try to show as much love and compassion and give back as much as possible. And when I have new understandings, I share them with folks that are willing to listen to them. And that's basically all I've been doing, besides keeping myself healthy and keeping, my friends and family safe and having a good time with those individuals as much as possible. And that's really the key, is to have as good a time with everything you do as possible. You gotta make it worthwhile. You gotta make it fun and enjoy it. And that's what's worked for me. So that's all I can
Mhm.
speak for.
I would agree, because I know for myself, when I'm in that hand wringing mode because I am concerned about another lockdown coming, or
No, you know what? You just don't even. I don't even. I've checked out of news completely.
yeah,
I will have my guests occasionally, if I have like a guest that's kind of checked into politics or talking about some mainstream conspiracies. I'll have them present the information. I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. That's what's happening there. And then I let it go and forget about it, because it's not really important to anything, especially if it is part of the agendas or machine fear campaign that
yes,
wants to keep us locked into just a state of fear. So definitely don't pay attention to anything that's scary, because we're creating it anyway. If you want to stop being scared, stop goddamn making it.
yeah, yeah.
You're creating that stuff.
I hear you. I hear you. So
Yeah.
the other thing that I'm doing is paying attention to my body, how my
Mm,
body feels. And if
yeah.
something doesn't make me feel mentally, physically, or spiritually well, then that's
Mm,
something I want to step away from. And the things that make me feel spiritually and mentally and physically well, those are the things I want to move towards. And that includes everything from personal care products to what I eat, to the people I associate with, to the entertainment I allow myself, limiting screen time and spending more time in nature. And all of those things. I know it sounds very, hippy dippy, but I swear to God, it's making a difference in my life. And it's my life. And now I'm getting old. I'm 67 years old. I'm not going to be around here forever. I want to make the rest of my time here really count. And I want to feel well so I can go out and do the things that I want to do. I don't want to lose
mhm.
5 years being lost in YouTubeville. No
Yeah.
disrespect to YouTube, even though I got a beef with them. But don't we all? But don't
Mm.
we all? And so that's what I'm trying to do. Um, wow. That's quite, I'm really glad you came on the show to tell us all about all that, because you have some amazing experiences.
Well,
And
it's going to continue. I have just started cultivating my own psilocybin again. As you may not know, they just legalized here in Colorado. So by 2024, we're going to have, the practitioners and stores where you can just walk in and buy
you
the stuff.
can't send it to Canada, can you?
I don't know. I really
Because it's
don't know.
legal, it's legal in Canada.
Mm,
But I don't know
maybe
about the
so.
border. I wish I could get some from you. I would, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be for medicinal and purposes for, vision quests and things like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm going to really be selling it to anyone. I'll be giving it away to plenty of people. But yeah, so that's coming in the future, and I have quite a few friends around the Denver area that have already started cultivating that have great results, and I've been utilizing their harvests and going to continue the explorations. And I've actually I'm up to at least once a week now, just because of the profound information. And there seems to be not so much a sense of urgency, but there seems to be a quickening in events that are occurring. And
Yes.
I am, every time that I do go in, I learn such incredible things and have such incredible downloads and information. But I was instructed last time that I will be now waiting for instructions on when to go in, not so much as I've been going in. So it may be a little less. I don't know, maybe more. So I'm awaiting for the guides over there to let me know when to go in and have my training done. So
Mhm.
they're always on hand. It's just about waiting for the messages now.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is really super interesting. So, so you sort of covered a little bit about where you're going with all of this. How's your documentary coming?
Documentary is great. So first episode will be hopefully dropping on Amazon, Tubi, all the fun streaming platforms within a couple of months. And right now you can get it. You can get episode 1 from our website. It's a special edition, limited edition version of episode 1 of the Forbidden documentary, Occult Louisiana, Older Than History. You can just go to our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, and you can download it there. It's only $3 for an HD version. It's only $5 for a 4K version. And we got episode 2 in the works. Episode 2 should be available on our website within the next couple of months. Probably when the episode 1 comes out on Amazon, we'll have episode 2 released. We do want to do a little bit of promotion, a little bit more of promotion on episode 1 once it actually drops on those platforms, so people know it's there. And then we'll have episode 2 out, and then we have something really special planned for the next season, which will be more focused on my experiences and gaining an understanding on what's happening in reality.
Excellent.
And yeah, we'll be getting some folks together on that, and that'll be the new kind of shifting phase of the Forbidden documentary, and we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, wonderful. Now, for the listeners and the viewers, I've seen the first episode of the Forbidden
Awesome.
documentary, and it's fantastic. It's extremely well written. It's extremely high quality. It is really worth watching. If you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. And it's got a lot of people who have actually experienced these things, and they talk about how it happened for them. It's just a really brilliant, brilliant series. And also my other show, the Quantum Guide Show, on September 13th, Chris is going to come back and we're going to just cover the documentaries, when he's done and the ones that are coming up. So you don't want to miss that. Mark your calendar for September the 13th. I'm really excited about it all. You've done some great work. Like I said earlier, I've known you now for a number of years, Chris, and just to see the progress with your talent and what you offer humankind is just really exciting, really exciting. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about your experience because, like I said, I have visions, but sometimes I don't connect them. I don't know what the bigger picture is. I don't know if I'm seeing the future or the past. And sometimes, seriously, I don't even know if I'm sane, because other people are not having these things happen and they're not talking about it. So it's a real comfort for me to hear your take on everything and to see how my experiences kind of stitch in to your understanding. And it seems like a great relief to me to know that I'm going in the right direction.
I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are having the same messages, and I've been getting emails. Tons. I started a new show yesterday called Trip Report, where I've been reporting this very thing, and I got a ton of emails and messages saying, "Hey, man, I've experienced the same thing during either psychedelic or meditative or just downloads. I've had this same type of understanding that you're discussing right now." And I think a lot of people are, and I think a lot of people are supposed to be having this very thing. And what happened, I believe, is we were supposed to have this understanding to begin with around 2020, but too many psychological operations started happening at the same time. Instead of just waking up to the correct thing, we started focusing on all the stuff. And maybe that's what 2020 was about getting us focused on all these crazy things. I don't know. I don't want to get dragged into a conspiracy within a simulation. So we'll just leave it at that. But it's super fascinating. And I think that although, a lot of people are just put off and it seems depressing that we're not in a real reality. Well, we really never have been as far as our own existence or this incarnation is concerned. So get over it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell. I think that as soon as people come to a better understanding of that it's okay, that this is reality and it's a great thing because we can control it. Maybe we'll, that it'll be easier for people.
Yeah, I agree. And getting back to the whole the whole Matrix thing, the first three episodes, I guess you want to call it, of the Matrix, at the end, it looks like Neo's finally broken through and become free. And then you watch the fourth one and he gets sucked right back in again. And he has to break out all over again. And his breaking out experience, I really related to, because there's been times where I went back in. But even in the earlier shows, where the guy's eating a steak and he says, I'm eating a steak. I'm really enjoying it. Is it real? No, I don't care. I'm really enjoying the steak. A lot of people are in that mindset. A lot of people. Yeah. But just like you, Chris, I've been getting all kinds of emails from people saying, I'm really suffering. I don't know what to do. I'm going down these rabbit holes. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's real. And I write back and I say, congratulations. You're waking up. This is the most beautiful time of your life. Now's the time to get your health together. Now's the time to start adopting for yourself what's real, and to put the rest away. And I get all kinds of emails thanking me for first of all, people are surprised that I actually answer their emails, and second of all, that it gives them a new insight, a new direction, a new way to go. So I think that's also one of our purposes. So our purpose is to wake up, to get a gist. I don't have the answers either, but to get a gist of what's going on, and then to give a helping hand to other people so that they don't feel alone in this experience, or worse yet, go to the psychiatric industry for pharmaceuticals to shut it back down and put them back in the matrix when they're so close to breaking free. And that's why I think the work you're doing is so important.
Well, thank you. And I believe we volunteered for this. So the sooner we can remember that we're here for a reason and we chose to come here, the better. And the only last thing I'll say is just beware of Agent Smiths, because they are real. They're everywhere. And I had one living with me for a little while and it was quite terrifying. So beware of those.
It could be your mother, your father, it could be your minister, it could be your doctor. And because you say something or you do something and immediately they want to course correct you back into the system. And to me, that's very disturbing, very, very disturbing. When I recognize it, I don't go back for more, because I need to protect myself. I think what we have is really valuable.
Yeah. So, but we also have to be empathetic. I think there's a lot of people that are really suffering from mental illness because they don't understand what's happening in this reality. There's a lot of people that are vulnerable right now, and it's causing them a lot of distress. And, people do stupid things when they're distressed. So we got to be very discerning on, I hate the word NPCs. I hate the word, I even don't like calling people Agent Smiths, but it's a reality. And I've learned that I just have a knowing that, yes, there are folks out there that really don't have that divine spark. They're part of the machine and they work for the machine, and they always will and they always have.
Yep, absolutely. Now, before you go, Chris, is there any last words you have? And also, for the people who are listening to this on an audio podcast, can you just say where people can find you?
Yeah, well, thanks again, Karen, so much for having me on. Look forward to coming back on the Quantum Guide show. And just, folks, if this resonates with you, if any of this makes any sense, if you have any intuitive feelings about any of this, feel free to let me know. Feel free to reach out to Karen, because we do need to come together and have group understandings of this stuff and exchange information so that we can learn more from each other, because everybody's having different experiences, different understandings, but there is really one type of message and one route that we need to be going, instead of focusing on a thousand different directions. And that's why we need to come together and focus and exchange the information and see where we're going. So thank you again, Karen. You can find us. Our website is forbiddenknowledge.news. That's where you find all the podcasts. That's where you find the Forbidden Knowledge Network. And that's where you can download the Forbidden Documentary Episode 1. And our premium content is on Rockfin. That's rockfin.com/FKN plus. You get not only all our premium content, you get all the premium content from over 500 plus content creators that are on Rockfin. So go check that out. We are available on all podcast platforms. We put clips up on YouTube, and we are available on Rumble, social medias, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you, Chris, for taking the time to be on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and to learn more. And let's do it again sometime. Thanks again. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Aliens and Angels. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have a show. And I appreciate every single one of you very, very much. And we'll see you next time on the next show. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Essempler from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.